Good morning. So, this is going to be kind of my inaugural video. So, I decided to do videos because this is kind of my story, you know. This is kind of mine and my husband's story. I wanted to share how my life has changed. A lot of you don't know me before. Been married a couple times now. I don't know if I need to add that or not. But the whole premise behind what I'm trying to do is to let people know that we all have some life-changing events that happen to us. We all have things in our lives that happen that we can't control, and that changes everything. So, I just wanted to talk to you guys this morning. I'm getting ready to, we're going to go to Vanderbilt today. So, 3 or 4 years ago, my husband got sick and has been diagnosed with an autoimmune disease. Let me see if I can fix this. So I feel like it's weird. So he was diagnosed with an autoimmune disease, and it's been, our whole lives changed from that moment on. And I sort of wanted to share that with you guys, and, you know, talk about those things and some of our experiences, some of the things that have changed for us, some of the things that have stayed the same. So that's what I wanted to do this morning, is sort of give you guys some background on my point, my goal. Because honestly, whenever you're doing something like this, and I'm nervous to talk to you guys. I'm nervous to let anyone see all my flaws and all the terrible things about me through a camera. I mean, I'm nervous about that anyway. We don't want people to see those sides of us. But I'm going to share it with y'all. I'm going to share it because there are more people out there in the world like me than there are like perfect Barbies. And I'm not a Barbie. I'm not a model. I'm just a normal 45-year-old. What happened to my camera? I've got it on live focus and it doesn't want to focus. Hey, there I am. I'm just a normal person. 45 years old. I've got 2 kids. I've got a 24-year-old son. I've got a daughter who's getting ready to turn 20. Actually, my son's getting ready to turn 25. They're 5 years apart. My son is married and took on her and her child, and loves that child as if it were his own, and not trying to be its daddy. You know, Matthew is my son, and he's had stepdads. He's had a couple. And so he knows what he wants to be or what he doesn't want to be, which is good. And then my daughter, she is the most artistic. She's the most artistic person that I have ever met. You know, I feel like she could probably do anything with her life. I'm getting off on a tangent. So I'm married also to my husband, John, who you will eventually see on the channel. And this is kind of our story, what we go through. So a few years ago, John was diagnosed with Wegeners. Well, it was just last year he was diagnosed with Wegeners GPA, granulomatosis. So it's an autoimmune disease. Lots of people have sinus involvement with that, and they have kidney involvement. Now, he had some sinus issues, but his main issue is it's a sort of a small vessel vasculitis. So when he has a flare, we'll call it, or that's what it's called. When he has a flare, he hit the small capillaries in his lungs begin to burst, and blood starts to fill his lungs, and he drowns. Or he, literally, that's what he's going through, is a sort of a drowning thing. So we battled that, trying to figure out what that was for a number of years. 2 years, as a matter of fact. Tried to figure out what it was. You know, the doctors didn't know. Which is fine. That was a difficult time. And I'm going to go through, you know, some of the things that we went through as well. They have Facebook pages about, you know, people who are suffering from Wegeners specifically. They have pages about, you know, autoimmune disorders and that sort of thing. And so my husband is on those, and he reads those a lot and tries to keep up with other people's stories. And so I was like, we've got our own story, you know? So why not share it? Why not share some of the things that we've been through? He was recently denied his Social Security. So I need coffee. And my daughter needs to edit this out. So with this autoimmune, to keep it at bay, he has to have chemotherapy treatments as if he had cancer. And what the chemo treatments do is put it in remission. So it's like low dose chemotherapy, just like normal chemotherapy that you would take if you had cancer. So before we do that, we have to go to Vanderbilt to see. Look at that. Look at that line right there. As I get older, that thing gets deeper. It's going to be an old woman. Looks like I've got a scar. Maybe I'll look cool like somebody out of Mad Max. Doubt it. Anyway. So we have to go to Vanderbilt and get checked by the rheumatology guy there. And he's a head honcho rheumatologist. Let me tell you, he's been everywhere and done everything, and he's probably only 35 years old. I mean, he's super young and super good. And whenever my husband was getting his diagnosis, he was like, you know, I don't care what you call it. You can call it Wegeners, you can call it whatever you want, but it's a small vessel vasculitis, and here's what happens. And we're going to have to keep a close eye on your kidneys to make sure that you never have kidney involvement, which is what normally happens with these vasculitises. I'm just looking at what color I'm going to wear today, so I know what kind of eyeshadow to kind of match it with. I've got this green. This color. I don't know if you guys can see it, but I really like it. I like it. But then I've got like a black, so I can do black and gray today if I wanted to, which I may actually do. Walk around like I'm in mourning. My whole daggone wardrobe is black. It's black, it's gray, it's dark blue, it's all those monotone colors. And I really try to put a splash of color in there somewhere sometimes, but man, just really, I love blacks and grays and browns, and you know, I don't know, the older I get, things change. I might put on a red top with a black skirt or black pants or something. So really, we're blessed. Let's make no mistake about that. My husband is still alive. When there was a moment where we thought he wasn't going to be. Not just a moment. There was like a week and a half where we were not sure whether or not he was going to live. He was actually in a medically induced coma for 9 days. His lungs were filling up with blood. He was on the ventilator, and that ventilator was giving it everything it got just for him to get 80-something% oxygen. And that was scary. There was 3 full days there where people would ask me, how's he doing? And I would have to say, not good, not good. My husband could die. Isn't that fun? No, it's not. So another thing that I wanted to talk about too is being a survivor, not a cancer survivor, not a survivor who's actually had the illness, but like a survivor of the caretaker. The caretaker's point of view. Now, you're going to hear from my husband too eventually. He's not going to want to be on camera, because both of us over the years have we've kind of let ourselves go a little bit and gained a bunch of weight, and he's been on so much prednisone that and I've been sitting. It's weird, you sit and watch somebody go through this stuff, and it was like a movie for me, I guess. I sit and watch and eat cookies and popcorn. I don't know. I'm a stress eater, though. My favorite thing. I love to stress eat on cookies. I don't know why. It's one of my favorite things to stress eat on. For my husband, it's potato chips. So we're going to Nashville today and to Vanderbilt, and that is a 4-hour drive for us. And so far, every time we've gone, it has rained. So we're hoping for no rain. Literally, like last time we went, it rained so hard on the way back that I really thought we were going to have to stop and get a hotel room or something. It was bad. So anyway, I'm trying to get ready, and this is my first video. I don't have a great setup. My room isn't even clean. This is like I call it my foo-foo room. It's not even cleaned up, and I don't care. I will take you guys through all that stuff. Because, like I said, there's probably people in the world that are going through some of the things that my husband and I have gone through. Him being the victim of a disease, and me being the caretaker of a victim. And believe me, that's not easy. It's not easy because as a caretaker, you're constantly trying to uplift your significant other. You're constantly, and it doesn't matter how you personally feel. The goal is to make sure that the other person who is sick doesn't feel bad. You know? And unfortunately, as caretakers, we find ourselves ready to beg, borrow, or steal to make our loved one feel better. You know? But there's a lot more to it than that. That sometimes an illness of unknown origin can be a terrible, nightmarish thing to have happen. Because throughout the course of trying to get a diagnosis, he literally had doctors telling him that it was all in his head. You know, I remember the day we went to the emergency room, and the first doctor that said that it was all in his head, I was like, we can't come here anymore, because now that mess is in his chart. And every time he comes in, from now until eternity, every doctor is going to look at that and have a decision to make. Do I agree? Do I not agree? But it's going to skew it. It's going to skew the decision. And that really made me mad. So I'm gonna finish getting ready, and I'll touch base again in a little while. I've got to try to get my thoughts together. I'm going to have my daughter, like I said, who's extremely talented, edit some of these videos and try to get like a vlog together, because I really want to start that. I'm trying to start a blog too. And they say don't write a book in your blog. That's hard, because I have a lot to say. So anyway, I'll touch base after I'm kind of ready to go and got my ducks in a row. I'll be back.